Alright, Claire, so, I received your email. Sorry I'm late. I was at Boy Scout camp for the past week. That was why there was no homework or live class. But, I received your email. I'm gonna do all the questions right now. Um, so yeah, so the first question you had was, 3x to the fourth times 2x, right? So, what I think you forgot is that x is equal to x to the first, right? So, any number to the first power is itself. So, the correct answer, 3 times 2 is 6, and then x to the fourth, x to the first is x to the fifth. Right? Because x to the first, right, it's still an x, so x to the fourth times x to the first, right? We have to add the exponents um, when multiplying exponents. You add the exponents. So this would be x to the so I think this is what you missed. However, you should probably write this in your notes as well. But a to the b times a to the c is a to the b plus c, not times. This might also be something you messed up on. I don't know what you messed up on. I just know that your answer was 6x to the fourth, I think. So that's just something you need to know. Um, you missed the x. You either missed the 1 here, or you messed this up. But this is the correct answer is 6x to the fifth. Alright, so the next question was z to the negative 2 or x to the second. So better x. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is realize that this exponent is a negative exponent. So we need to move this term, just this term, to the bottom, to the other side. Right, this is a positive 2, so you don't need to touch it at all. Positive 2, it's perfectly normal, perfectly fine. It's not a negative exponent, so we can leave it there. However, since this is a negative exponent, we need to move it around. So move this to the bottom, and there's nothing on the top anymore. Since we move this to the bottom, we have our x squared, as usual, as before. Then we just change it to a positive 1, z to the second. And since there's nothing on the top, then you need to put a 1. You move this to the bottom, not this to the top. So there's nothing on the top, not nothing on the bottom. That's probably what you missed. You have to move the top to the bottom, not the bottom. Wait, hold up. Let me just check your answer. Your answer was yeah. Wait. Okay, so I believe your answer was x to the second over z to the second. You only need to move that term to the bottom, not flip the entire equation. Flip the entire fraction. We can see that as well if we just did that out. So z to the negative second divided by x to the second, right? So this is equal to z to the negative 2 divided by x to the second, right? Z to the negative 2 is 1 over z to the 2 second, right? Divided by x to the, keep, change, flip. We learned this, like what, 1-4 or 1, something like that. Anyway, we keep the first fraction, 1 over z to the second, times, change this to multiplication, and you flip this one, 1 over x to the second, and if you multiply them, you get 1 over z to the second, x to the second. Right, so I think either you moved the bottom to the top instead of the top to the bottom, or you just, I guess, no, I think you flip the entire thing. So you only need to flip the term that has a negative exponent. So z to the negative 2 divided by x to the second. You only need to move this one. This one can stay where it is because it's positive 2. The exponent's positive and it can stay as is. So the next question you asked is x to the second over y. There was y over x to the second. Okay, so this is the exact same thing. You only need to move this term because the y is equal to y to the first, right? Y to 1 is a positive number, so you can leave that as is. You don't need to touch the y at all. So all you need to do here is move this x to the negative second to the bottom. And since there's nothing on the top anymore, because we move this to the bottom, you have just 1 here. Then you have x to the second, and then y. Right? So because y to the first is the same as just y. So yeah, that's this question. So don't flip the entire equation unless the bottom and the top are. So just put the negative one on the other side. So x to the negative second, since this is a negative exponent, move that to the bottom, but don't move the y since that's already a positive exponent. I think I said this in the video, but if you were in like live class, I would mention this a lot of times. So just don't touch the positive exponent, only move the negative exponent. That's it for, that's really all there is to this. Okay, let me see. Your last question was 4x to the third divided by 22 x to the negative third. Let's see. Okay, so. Alright, so it looks like you know how to factor. First of all, we know that we can divide both sides by 2. You're just having trouble knowing where the x goes. So first of all, what is the negative exponent? Well, here's the negative exponent, right? So we have to move this to the other side. Move this to the top, right? So you get 2 x to the third, then move this to the top, x to the third, x to the third times x to the third is x to the sixth, right? So since this is a negative exponent, you're supposed to move this to the top, not this to the bottom, this to the top, right? And we also learned that a to the b divided by a to the c is equal to a to the b minus c. Same thing applies here. If we have x to the third divided by x to the negative third, number minus this number, so we have x to the third minus negative 3, or the negative 3, and we learned that subtracting a negative number is the same as adding, right? 3 minus negative 3 is 3 plus 3. So we have x to the sixth. And x to the sixth is on the top, right? Because x to the negative 6 is the bottom, x to the positive 6 is at the top. But really all you need to know is that if it's a negative number, pull it to the top. If it's a normal, it's already a positive exponent, don't touch it at all. So yeah, that's I think that's it. Those are the 4 questions that you missed, I think. Yeah. Yeah, that's all you missed. Yeah, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, if you have any questions, feel free to like reply again. Anyway, thank you for like doing the homework as well. Even though you're not in the live class, I see that you're doing the homework and just submitting the form before the due date. So I thank you for that. Yeah, So there was no class last week, but I'm back. So yeah, uh, this week we'll be doing like square roots and stuff. Uh, your mom asked me about like a questions or whatever for like advanced math when you enter school. Um, Radicals is one thing is definitely something you'll find on the test. However, it doesn't go in depth as what I'm teaching now. It's more of a do you know what radicals mean? So, what does the square root of 2 mean? Um, what is the square root of 4? So stuff like that. You'll find stuff like this on the test. As long as you know what like the basic idea is. For example, in like to the power of, it's just how many times they multiply the number. For the radicals, it's just you find a number that, when taken to that power, stuff like that. You really need to know how to do it. Um, it's not hard as long as you take your time. Definitely check your answers. So even after you're done, make sure you go back and check every single answer. Um, Send your mom like a text on WeChat, something about what I remember was on the test. A lot of the things I remember was just basic geometry. So, what is the area, the volume, stuff like that. You'll do fine on the test. Um, but my test is different from yours. But I mean, if you can do well in this course, I definitely think you can pass entrance exam for advanced math or whatever. So yeah, I'll see you like sometime soon. Yeah, I'm recording this on like Monday, so I know I'm recording this on Sunday, so I'm still making the homework for the week. Um, and just keep doing the homework. Thank you for doing it, even though you're not in the class anymore, somewhat.